We're here to idea everyone, to fire up your curiosity and connect you with the people and ideas that shape our world. Watch, listen, understand, connect, create. Let's move the human story forward together.
Hello and welcome to The Poetry of Science, a podcast which provides insight into new scientific research via the medium of poetry. I'm your host, Dr. Sam Illingworth, and each week I'll be introducing you to some of the latest scientific findings and sharing a selection of science-themed poetry. After all, we could all do with a little bit more poetry in our lives. In this episode, I'll be exploring new research, which has found that small perching birds, such as blue and great tits, avoid breeding in urban areas where there are many non-native trees. In concrete jungles, nature's pillars catch the city's heat, foreign tones of green that hug the sky with firm, unrooted ease, washing ashen cloaks with verdant, leafy lungs, gifting shade and life and joy. Hidden in our hubris, these unfamiliar buds misstep the local beats, delaying bursts of slumbering boughs and creeping feed, a brooding doubt to native perching wings. This poem is inspired by recent research published in Oceologia, which has found that urban birds prefer native trees. Urban trees offer essential ecosystem services like air purification and local temperature reduction, whilst also providing habitats for birds and insects. Globally, introduced or non-native tree species are widely used in urban planning, with over a quarter of urban plant species thought to be non-native. However, whilst some advocate for non-native trees because of their tolerance to the harsh conditions of cities, it is essential to fully assess the impacts of their presence on the local ecosystem. For example, these non-native trees, also known as introduced, exotic or alien species, do not have an evolutionary history with the local ecosystem, which can potentially cause issues for native wildlife. To find out how different types of trees affect bird life, researchers monitored 400 nest boxes of blue tits and great tits in 5 parks in the Swedish city of Malmö over a 7-year period. The results show that native trees, defined in this study as species that have been in the ecosystem for at least 700 years, provide more resources and are preferred by urban birds. Overall, the birds were found to be less likely to breed in territories dominated by non-native trees, and chicks reared in territories dominated by non-native trees weighed significantly less compared to those territories with fewer non-native trees. The researchers conclude that from a conservation perspective, specific native species known to host invertebrates should be prioritised over and above non-native trees in management decisions regarding urban green spaces. Now that you've heard the science, let me read the poem to you again. In concrete jungles, nature's pillars catch the city's heat, foreign tones of green that hug the sky with firm, unrooted ease, washing ashen cloaks with verdant, leafy lungs, gifting shade and life and joy. Hidden in our hubris, these unfamiliar buds misstep the local beats, delaying bursts of slumbering boughs and creeping feed, a brooding doubt to native perching wings. In this section of the podcast, I'd like to share a poem written by another poet on a topic related to the science that has been discussed so far. In this episode, I'll be reading The Birds by Linda Paston. Linda Paston was an American poet of Jewish background who was born in New York City in 1932. She is the author of over 15 books of poetry and essays, including A Perfect Circle of the Sun, published in 1971, The Imperfect Paradise, published in 1988, and A Dog Runs Through It, published in 2018. Paston's many awards include the Dylan Thomas Award, a Pushcart Prize, the Best Hoking Prize for Poetry, the Poetry Society of America's Alice Faye de Castaglia Award, and the Ruth Lilly Poetry Prize in 2003. Paston died at her home in Chevy Chase in January 2023 at the age of 90. The Birds by Linda Paston. The birds are heading south, pulled by a compass in the genes. They are not fooled by this odd November summer. Though we stand in our doorways wearing cotton dresses, we are watching them. As they swoop and gather, the shadow of wings falls over the heart. When they rustle among the empty branches, the trees must think their lost leaves have come back. The birds are heading south. Instinct is the oldest story. They fly over their doubles, the mute weather vanes, teaching all of us with their tail feathers the true north. Thank you for listening to the Poetry of Science.
Thank you very much for being with us for this episode of the ideaXme Show. ideaXme is a global platform. Our mission is to move the human story forward by sharing knowledge of the future. You can find us on all major audio networks at www.radioideaXme.com, on YouTube and Vimeo. Please subscribe.